Hello everyone, my name is Cameron Deo, and I am the founder of All Around Gamers, along with being the host on the podcast. This is my top 10 games for the year 2012. Some of you may note that I did a top 5 games on the podcast along with my fellow All Around Gamers, and I decided to do a top 10 for the year 2012. Some of these games on my top 10 list were not exactly released this year, but they were released to certain platforms this year, and I put them into my top 10 games of the year. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So for my number 10 for the year 2012, I decided to choose I'm Alive, and this is for numerous reasons. This game was released on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 a little bit early into the year, but it came out later on into the PC for the PC gaming crowd. And the reason I chose this game for my number 10 was because this game is set in a post-apocalyptic world and everything, where an unknown event has happened, and you are trying to survive in order to get back to your family, and you really feel vulnerable and feel really at a disadvantage in this game. More often than not, with post-apocalyptic games, you really don't feel that sense of survival and that sense that you could die at any moment, and that like in these situations you're put into, you really feel like you have a chance, but not with I Am Alive. You're constantly looking for rations in order to keep your stamina and your health up, and in combat situations you're never really given the benefit or like given the upper hand. You have it to where you're given a single gun in the start of the game, and bullets are incredibly rare, and there's this sense of intimidation that you can throw onto your opponents, because you could be pointing the gun directly at them, but they don't know that it's loaded. But in certain situations, if you keep pointing it at them but don't actually fire the gun, they'll realize that you're BSing them and that you're really just trying to like intimidate them when you're really got no game. And you could do it to where, like, if you had a bullet, for example, you could find the alpha male in the group and shoot the alpha male, and then the rest of them will go away. Other times, like, aside from like the atmosphere like being really gloomy and like really like post-apocalyptic, you hear constant noises always in your head and everything, but you never know where they're coming from, and sometimes you can find them, but a lot of times you can't. For example, there was one moment where like I heard a woman crying, so I'm like, I'm gonna go help this woman, because like you would get certain abilities and certain things if you helped out people. But once I got up there, like, she was actually the bait for someone, and all of a sudden out of nowhere I was being attacked. And for example, like, all this kind of stuff just played into effect. So like, it was really amazing to see this kind of atmosphere put into a game, and I really hope developers like take note of this, and like especially with like The Last of Us coming up here, I want to see these kind of elements and these kind of gameplay mechanics put into games more often. I mean, this game was bounced around from developer to developer for a number of years and was a long time in development, but I mean, when it came out, it was such a great game, and it received a lot of mixed criticism, but honestly, it was one of my games of the year, hence being in my top 10, and I really wish more people would have played it. And if you guys have never played this, just go download the trial and just give this game a try and see what it's really like. So for my number 9 of the year, I decided to choose Dragon's Dogma, and the reason I chose this game, once again, is for numerous reasons. I loved the JRPG open world aspect of this game. This game was so open in the fact that once you got out of the starting zone and everything, you could go anywhere in the game and do anything you wanted. And the thing that was great about that is, even though you could do that, you were really putting yourself at a disadvantage and everything, because this game was incredibly difficult for someone like me. I don't know why particularly for someone like me, but the game was awesome because it made you really like try to learn the mechanics and utilize everything that the game has to offer. This includes like the pawn system and the class system and everything like that. If you chose the right class to play to your playstyle and everything, then like you would have a blast with this, but you would still be put at a disadvantage and everything. And the boss battles in this game were just phenomenal. There's just so much about this game that was just so amazing, and multiple websites I follow like actually like viewed this game as like one of their number 1 game of the year and everything. But like, and for good reason. Like, for example, like the pawn system was fantastic because you would have numerous pawns that would follow alongside of you. One of you actually created yourself. Others you can actually like trade out and actually play pawns that other players on the same platform as you actually created, and they can do the same with your pawn. And what was great is that like it would have it to where if someone, for example, used your pawn and they went on a certain journey together and they like went to different areas of the game that you never went to before, once you went to those particular areas of the game, your pawn would remember the events that happened, would say, oh, there's a trap coming up here, this guy is weak to so-and-so and everything like that. All kinds of stuff like that. And the upgrade system was great, the abilities was fantastic, numerous times you would have like fire weapons and light weapons and like lightning weapons, like so many different things could happen just to the weapons alone. And then like the abilities, like for example, I played a ranger, so there'd be like moments where like I jump into the air and I do like 30 slashes before I actually got off and like actually hit the ground again. And then there was like boss fights where, like an example, like right here, you'd get onto the guy's neck and like you'd be like beating the crap out of his neck in order trying to beat him and everything, but like he'd be flinging you off and everything, just like the old days with Shadow of the Colossus back on the PlayStation 2. I really feel like this game touched on a lot of boss fights and a lot of combat mechanics that aren't really touched on as much as they used to be. And just like overall, like the lore and everything, like overall this game really stuck out to me in the year. And even though I didn't finish the game, I really want to go back just to beat the game and just to like say I beat it, because numerous times I wanted to try to find an easier difficulty because it was really difficult. But what was great about this game was like it's kind of set the tone for me this year, was like it's going to be hard and you're going to have to deal with it. And Dragon's Dogma was the game for this year that really did that. And I think overall for me as a gamer as well, where you got to just push through and just hope for the best and like learn the mechanics and the game. Number 8 for me is Darksiders II. Darksiders 2 is an action-adventure game where you play as Death, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse looking to redeem your brother War's name. In the first game, War was charged with prematurely bringing the apocalypse onto the planet Earth, and you as Death in Darksiders 2 are looking to redeem his name. One of the things that I loved absolutely the most about this game was the not only like the combat style and everything, but like how the gameplay mechanics added up. To me, Darksiders 2 felt like Prince of Persia, Legends of Zelda, and God of War all mixed into one single beautiful masterpiece. The boss fights were incredibly amazing, and there was so much to love about this game. I absolutely got very much addicted to this game very early on into playing it, and I really wish the game would have been even a little bit longer so I can keep the experience even going more. And even though there is DLC out there and everything, it's still not the same as being the actual game itself. I played a little bit Darksiders 1, but Darksiders 2 is definitely the finer game of the two, considering it is the sequel, so they have refined the mechanics quite a lot. And I really enjoyed this game, and I really recommend that anyone who has not picked this game up definitely go give it a try. If you loved Legends of Zelda and haven't had that experience like that mixed with like Prince of Persia and like God of War in a long time, definitely give this game a try. The abilities are awesome, the boss fights are awesome, and the enemies and everything about this game is really fantastic. I really enjoyed this game, and I definitely recommend it to anyone who has not given it a try. Coming in at number 7 is Mass Effect 3. Now this game received a lot of criticism due to the ending of the game and the fact that this is not what people have wanted and everything, and it makes sense due to the fact that BioWare was talking about that all the decisions would matter in the end and everything like that towards the end of the third game. But even though that gamers didn't get exactly what they wanted, I still really enjoyed this game. I felt that they tied in Mass Effect 1 and 2 very well in certain aspects of the game. Certain areas I would have liked to see even more tied in, for example the ending, as like people were saying, but I can live with that and such like that. And like even though people were even saying like, for example, Ashley didn't play a role in like the second game, but if she was in the third game for you, the decisions you made in the first game did affect the relationship you had with her in the third game. And certain characters I would have liked to see a little bit more predominant in the game. I would like to see more of a presence in there. The gameplay overall felt very great. The mechanics were good, very well complemented from the Mass Effect 2 mechanics as well, even though they were incredibly different from the first game, but that's entirely okay. I felt the story was very well done, with all the different races and seeing like how all this is going to be going on, and like overall like the entire story is like you can't even put into words like how this story articulates and everything. And even though it wrapped it up a little bit shaky from what everyone wanted, I still viewed this game as a great success, and I honestly want to play through it again with the rest of the series. This game stands out to me in the year, even though it didn't make it in my top 5. I believe it was deserved to be in my top 10, and I looked forward to this game very much, and rightfully so, because I very much enjoyed it, and that's all that matters. Number 6 is Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition on the PC. Ah, Dark Souls, how I both love and hate you, how I've died numerous times and been lost countless times and never knowing where to go or what to fight. And through all this, I still love you and I'm still very much addicted to you. Now, even though this game was released a year before, this game was released just now this year onto the PC for the Prepare to Die Edition. And I have to say, this was honestly one of the best $20 I've ever spent. I picked it up on one of the Steam sales and I've been playing it ever since. I'm so close to beating the game that I'm just dying to beat it. What I love about this game is that it's so unforgiving and so difficult that you feel like you gotta beat it. You actually feel like you have to sit down and sit there and beat the game. Every single enemy encounter is always like a new challenging task. No matter what the enemy is, you could always die to it. All the boss battles are so satisfying when you beat them. Like all those satisfying boss kills or boss battles that you played back in the day as a kid, they don't measure up to how satisfying some of these boss kills are. Like this game adds a sense of stress and anxiety into a game, and rightfully so, because you get so frustrated at this game and you want to quit many times, but you can never tear yourself from the computer and actually quit the game unless you physically have to. This game is so amazing. I love it. The world is so open by not holding your hand and guiding you on where to go. There's no NPCs guiding you. There's no map. There's nothing. If you pay attention to the lore and the item description and everything, you can figure out where you need to go and everything like that. But a lot of it is trial and error and grinding to get to the next level in order to beat the next boss, and fighting the same boss 6 times over in order to actually beat him because he's so damn hard. And this game is just so amazing, and I definitely recommend that anyone who hasn't tried this game really give this game a try, because I put this game off for a while and I bought it for $20, and I really wish I would have spent $40 on this game like the standard edition cost. And I can't wait to try out PvP and beat this game and get into New Game Plus, because once you beat the game you can beat it again on harder difficulty, and I'm so excited.